Some landscape situations just call for a wide, relatively low evergreen shrub, and if that's what you need, this is the plant for you. This is Pigeon Point Coyote Brush, Baccharis pilularis, Pigeon Point. The coyote brush species, Baccharis pilularis, is a medium-sized shrub, 8 to 10-ish feet tall and wide, and is a lovely plant, but can be quite wild-looking. I love it. I'll grow it in many situations, but the Pigeon Point cultivar is a much more calm-looking ground cover version that stays evenly green year-round in almost all situations. This is another one that you will see Caltrans having great success with, using it on freeway embankments as a ground cover. It's great for holding slopes and erosion control and stays evergreen, and with a bit of water every 3 weeks or every other week maybe if you're in a high fire situation, this stays hydrated, so can be a good choice for erosion control and working on slopes in areas where you don't want to have a situation where the foliage is going to be very dry and desiccated in the summer. It's probably the #1 choice for slopes and erosion control, maybe highlighted by other accents or shrubs that we featured like toyon, sugarbush, and lemonade berry. I've seen beautiful landscapes that feature this and just a couple of other native shrubs, highly relying on the Pigeon Point Coyote Brush as the calm evergreen shrub. If you want to keep it even lower than this, you can. When it's young, as it's starting to spread out, it might send out 1, 2, 3 kind of more arching stems. Just prune them out and you can keep this quite a bit lower as well. Prune as necessary. Keep to any size. The biggest tip I have if you're going to use Pigeon Point Coyote Brush in your landscape is just give it enough room. We usually plant them about 7 feet apart from each other, 8 or 9 feet apart from each other, and they will fill in. Individual plants not pruned in our inland heat might get 9, 10, 11, even 12 feet wide. And so people run into problems with this plant when they plant them like 3 or 4 feet apart. We often see this in commercial landscapes. At 6 months old, they'll look great, they'll grow in quickly, but they'll no longer be ground covers by the time they're 3 or 4 years old because the adjacent plants will just be growing over each other, getting taller and taller. It becomes hard to work with. So when you need something to just fill up some space, have it be green, Pigeon Point Coyote Brush is a great option. The density of it is also a great place for cover for birds, a site for nesting for certain birds that like to nest close to the ground. So here we are in the first week of fall. You can see all of these buds, and a little bit later on, they will develop these many, many clusters of tiny flowers. And while they're lovely to look at up close, the most important part about them is that they are going into full bloom in the fall when there's often not a ton of other plants blooming. There are other native plants that you can select for fall, and we do encourage you to make sure that you have plants in bloom every season of the year. And in particular, the whole Baccharis genus, all of the coyote brushes and their relatives are really, really great at providing food resources for a whole bunch of fall active native pollinators, many of which are great insects for pest control in our gardens as well. And so they will attract the adults of species of hoverflies and tiny non-stinging parasitic wasps, which come to feed at these flowers. And then the larvae of those species do great pest control for a variety of aphids and scale insects, helping create an ecosystem in your garden where things are more in balance than if you didn't have these habitat providing plants. So great ground cover, great habitat value, Pigeon Point Coyote Brush. If you have space, plant one.